Ah, I see. You've clicked on this video because you're interested in this multiple personality disorder class. Or is it the heterochromia aesthetic you like? Whatever the condition, I'm not here to judge. You know, it's giving Shoto Todoroki vibes, you know, with the whole inner self-conflict, troubled character.
When I'm in battle, I never use my left side.
I won't use my darkness. Sorry, I'm sorry you had to say that. But no, just like Shoto, you gotta embrace both sides with Lumi. Lumi is an interesting boss mule. Now, while I've given glowing reviews to the two other classes I've showcased, it won't be quite the same for Lumi. This isn't your typical face roll boss mule. That doesn't mean it's not good. I actually think it's one of the best boss mules if... yeah, there's an if. If you were already planning on overfunding one. Yeah. The damage on this class is a bit lacking. You don't really have big bursts with this class, but the damage uptime is crazy. So unlike burst classes where you're waiting for your cooldowns before you can go into the next boss, you can just waltz in with a funded Lumi and get close to your maximum damage every time on every boss. So if you're happy to invest a bit more into your Lumi, you're going to have a great time just going in and just blowing everything up. Now, however, if you're underfunded or going into it with normal funding, you might be in the boss for a while. The identity of this class is you either go into a light mode or dark mode.
Nighttime! Daytime!
You go into light or dark and you fill up your gauge by using the corresponding attacks. When your gauge fills up, you can go into equilibrium, which is your bossing mode. Now, while you're in light mode, you deal more damage with your light attacks. While you're in dark mode, you get extra lines on your dark attacks. Now, I say attacks, but you're only really using your fourth job skills, one for light and one for dark. That's reflection for light. Unlike me, Lumi is not scared of their reflection. It's your main mobbing skill, but you'll also be using it for bossing. You have to use both sides with this class. Your main dark skill is Apocalypse, which sounds very imposing, like a full map attack. But no, it's just this square hitbox in front of you. There's also a hyper passive that lets you charge your gauge faster when you use Apocalypse. Yeah, you definitely want to spec into that. Also, if you have character voices on, it sounds like you're a member of the X-Men.
Apocalypse, disappear!
The gauge on Lumi charges super quickly, which means you can and should be in equilibrium very frequently when bossing. In equilibrium, you can spam your main bossing skill, Ender. However, if you're not in equilibrium, there's a 12-second cooldown on Ender, meaning you can't boss effectively unless you are in equilibrium. Baptism is a skill that does big damage, and you decrease its cooldown when using an equilibrium skill in equilibrium mode, so the uptime on this is super high if you're constantly attacking. Conduit is a summon that attacks in different directions depending if you're in light or dark mode. If you're in equilibrium, it combines both attacks into one. It's not really a summon, it only lasts 6 seconds. Actually 6 seconds is a decent duration. Yeah, I tried telling my girlfriend that. Gate is your real summon. It lasts 30 plus seconds and extends in duration when you upgrade it. And you can use it every time you go into equilibrium. Liberation Orb is your main bursting buff skill. When you use it, you create a bunch of orb projectiles that attack enemies. You want to be in equilibrium when you're using it, otherwise the orbs do a lot less damage. You've got shells that tank up to 7 status conditions. A max HP heal for you and your party every 5 seconds. And your iframe is also your bind. Rip. So because you don't use many of your fourth job and under skills, you only need one pair of trios. That trio is Reflection, Apocalypse and Ender. Now, one pair of trios sounds great, but oh my god is that trio hard to find. You've got so many junk skills from your previous jobs. Like, I've opened over 300 nodes on this character already, and haven't found the 2 pairs yet. But with the new change where you can pick your boost nodes coming soon, it hopefully won't be too much of a headache moving forward. And only needing 1 pair of boost nodes means you can equip more decent skills, like decent speed infusion, which you will need, along with green pot and attack speed +1. Yeah, you want attack speed +1, and it's important in this class too, because you can use more enders, which means you can use more baptisms, And you can attack faster, which means you can charge your gauge faster to go into equilibrium faster. Yeah. It's also a class that desperately wants buff duration because it extends your equilibrium time. So that means Legion, Legion Artifact, Invulnerability are all essentials. I mean, you can make it work without, but you just don't get the full Lumi experience if you're broke or new to the game, unfortunately. Like, beginners are going to notice a significant difference between how strong their Lumi is compared to someone who's a lot more funded. I did mean it when I said this class can be a good boss mill though, if you fund it. Like, here's a side by side of my Ilium and my Lumi clearing C-Val and C-Pap. They're both super juiced, funded to about the same level. I think the Ilium is actually even a tad stronger than the Lumi is. So the Ilium clears C-Val a lot faster because it's got the big burst damage. But when you move into C-Pap, it really struggles to clear at the same speed because its damage is tied up in those cooldown abilities. Whereas on Lumi, you've got such high uptime on your damage and your cooldowns are short. I end up clearing both bosses faster on the Lumi than I do the Ilium. Now I get it, you could plan your bossing route a bit better. So go into C-Val, do your bursts, and then go into the smaller bosses where you don't need the burst, and then only go into Pap when you have your cooldowns ready. Now, you don't have to do that with Lumi. Your cooldowns are so short, your burst is up so frequently that you're bursting every boss. And because you're doing that, it's one of the fastest boss mills you can have. It's not your typical recommended bossing mill. It's more of a farming class. And oh boy does this class farm well. Like, Reflection is such a joy to use. Look at this Monster Park run. Look at the red dots. Look at them disappear. I'm playing battleships here.
You suck my battleship.
But yeah, I think the only reason you'd make a Lumi boss mill is if you like the aesthetic. Like, you'd have it at level 210 anyway for the level 3 link skill. 210 is a fine level because you don't need many boost nodes. But just don't fall into the trap of thinking, oh, it's already a high level, I'll convert it into a boss mill. Because you're going to need to invest a lot more into it to make it worth your while. I love the class though, and I don't mind juicing it up for the fast boss runs every week. It was actually the first class I mained when I was like 12 years old. Like, my in-game names were all based off of Lumi. XXX Light, XXO, XXX Dark, XXO. Sorry if you remember getting killed by me in League, and screw you if you bullied me for having such a cringe name back then. But anyway, I still love this class. Hopefully I did it justice in the showcase, and hopefully you give it a go. Thanks for watching.